Thursday, July 2nd, 2026. We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All righty. Adoption of the agenda. There's some other business at the end.
Yeah, you could just authorize the purchase of the GIS equipment you discussed.
Yep.
Or GPS, I should say. GPS tool.
And you're going to handle the recommendation under your
Yes,
report?
I
Yep.
will.
Okay.
Administrator's report.
Mhm.
All right. Public comment? Nothing? Select Board announcements? Would you like to discuss the 4th of July?
Yeah, happy 4th of July, everybody. So the Cook's fireworks is going to be when?
Next weekend.
Next weekend, not this
Yeah.
weekend.
Availability of the contractors who
Yep.
light off the floats.
Okay,
Yeah.
just be safe, be careful, and, all that stuff.
Yeah. A lot of years down near the Dolphin, you look to the west, you can see Portland's going off.
Yep, yep, sky's light.
So if you're out in the water, you can see Bath doing their thing. Anything, Matt?
No,
Nope.
you guys covered it.
Town Administrator's report?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. I have one item tonight, and I am pleased to be able to make a recommendation for hire at the recycling center. We've been looking for filling the seasonal position there, and we, including the recycling manager, Chuck Perot, and myself, we have interviewed several candidates, and we're recommending Evan Harding. He is currently residing in Harpswell. We recommend he be hired at $20 per hour, and he plans to start on Tuesday, assuming you, as a board, approve the recommendation.
I move that we hire Evan Harding for the summer position.
I second it.
All in favor?
Thank you. And that does conclude my report. I do want to wish everyone a happy 4th of July, and I know that there are going to be a lot of activities coming up in Harpswell, kind of celebratory around the 250th, anniversary of being the United States. There is a fairly large event on the 18th of July at Harpswell Center. We have all the information on our website. There's a really cool town-wide historical scavenger hunt for all ages, so I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I know I'm not touching on everything, but I just want to encourage people to check that out and see what type of activities they might be interested in participating in. Thank you.
Were you going to update from the assessing office? Did you want to?
Sure, let me do that. So I think at your last meeting, Debbie Turner came and provided an update on how that was going. We have a contractor, Vision Appraisal Services, and the latest schedule that we've adopted or that we're working with is that this company would submit the final data to the town of Harpswell on Monday, July 6th. And I will say that we are about a month behind, so we're kind of worried. This is a tight schedule. And, we really need to have them adhere to these deadlines. On Tuesday, July 7th, at a time to be determined, we would like either the chair of the select board or it could be the entire select board assessors group to hold a workshop to review the data that we have been provided with. The assessing office would like to sit down with Vision and with at least one member of the select board. I think you have designated your chair, but I just want to make sure you're all comfortable with that.
I just talked to
Okay.
Debbie about it
Okay.
a few minutes
So
ago.
we would like to do that on Tuesday, the 7th of July. By Monday, July 13th, we anticipate that Vision, again, this company, would be sending letters out to all of our taxpayers in Harpswell. These letters would have the 2025 valuation figures and the proposed 2026 valuation figures. Once folks get that information, they can contact Vision. The information will be on the letter. They can call, they can schedule an appointment. Again, excuse me. Or they could come into the office. And there's a 2-week period to review those figures. I think it's this, I need to get I will get it, thank you. I'll be right back.
All right,
Where'd she live off at? I'll finish it for her.
yeah.
She was at Vision sends out the letters and then starts the appointments.
Yep, July 15th to the 29th, Vision will hold appointments. Thursday, August 6th, town receives final figures from Vision.
Hopefully.
Then the big day is Friday, August 7th, with the Select Board assessors, we set the mill rate. In the week of August 14th, the tax bills go out, giving taxpayers 30 days' notice of their tax obligations, and the first payment is due September 15th.
Thank you for finishing.
It
My
doesn't-
apologies.
If they're gonna send out letters on the 13th, the earliest we could expect people to receive them would be the 14th.
Yeah, I mean,
Probably at
that,
best.
Probably the 15th.
And then, right, I agree with Kevin, it's
Right.
probably gonna be more the 15th or 16th, so they're gonna start holding appointments before people have even received.
well, I
letters.
think we're assuming in Harpswell, you might have them by the 15th, and you could call. There will be a number, you can call, and maybe you can get your questions answered at that point. Amelia might be able to offer some more details. Thank you, Amelia. And before Amelia says anything, I do want to congratulate her. She is now a certified Maine assessor.
Ooh.
So good for her,
Yes.
and good for the town of Harpswell.
Thank you. Amelia Wazinski, assessing assistant. Good question. Part of what we're hoping to do is to make a public announcement the day the letters are mailed, because you don't need to wait for your letter to look up your valuation. You'll be able to look it
Okay.
up online.
Okay,
So as soon as those letters are mailed, people could hypothetically look same day, make an appointment same day, and just cruise right through the process.
great information, thank
Yeah.
you.
Very helpful. Thank you, Amelia.
All right,
Yep, I'll
right.
hand it back.
consent agenda.
I'm gonna get back to
I'll
the
do it, I'll
agenda.
do it.
I didn't see that coming.
I move the consent agenda, just the approval of the minutes and the authorization of the warrants. Pretty simple one.
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right, no discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, town property matters, dinghy racks at Mitchell Field. I've heard about them.
Hello, Darcy Kuchar, Harbor Master. This is before you guys because I don't have a lot of history of how they were used, and in preparing Mitchell Field for public use, I had recommended we store them for the season. In doing some more research, other folks helped to find some old policy that was discussed back in 2022. In reading that, I feel like the Select Board needs to maybe consider how you would like to go forward, if that policy should be the one that we stand with, if it needs a little modification to maybe bring it in line to be similar to what we do at Pottstown Dock. I'm just looking for some consistency and guidance to kind of maybe treat all of the town public access points in a similar way, so that it's really up to you guys. There's a couple ways you could do this. We could not use them. We could use them and have them just generally open for everyone. We could decide to issue permits for them and then follow the Pottstown Dock policy for the way that we issue dinghy permits over there. So just bringing this up for you guys to have a healthy discussion.
Now, I'm at Harbor and Waterfront Committee. Have they weighed in yet?
They weighed in, not on the racks themselves, but they weighed in on the mooring field off of Mitchell Field, and they did not feel that a mooring field off of Mitchell Field was a good place to have a mooring field. It's a terrible anchorage, and there was talk of trying to pull back the moorings that had already been issued, if possible.
Well, it's probably too late for this year, but,
Right.
you know, the mooring field's good for July and August.
Right, that's about it.
Yeah.
And assuming we don't get a hurricane in July or August.
Well, we can haul them out there quick now.
Yeah, that's true. At any time,
At any tide, as we all know.
yeah.
So, for this year, why don't we just haul out the old policy, keep it the way it is for now, then let Harbor and Waterfront weigh in, because if we're gonna do away with the moorings, do we need dinghy racks?
If we're gonna leave them there, I think that it should be open to the public. I don't think we should be providing private dinghy racks for just a select few mooring holders. If we're gonna do that, why are there commercial guys that have to bring their dinghies by vehicle at Holbrook Street and Bethel Point every time? Why don't we provide dinghy racks at those landings
Yeah.
for those guys? You know, I don't think it's in the public's interest to provide dinghy racks for just a select few. I don't have a problem providing a dinghy rack as long as it's open to the public and we had a type of lottery process or something like that.
I have no problem. Dinghy rack, kayak rack.
Yeah.
I don't care what you
Yeah,
put on.
right, especially where there's a launch there now, an all-tide launch at that. It's easily accessible. The dinghy rack made sense at the time when the policy was adopted, when there was no launch there. You know, and there was no way to transport the dinghy easily down to the shore. But now with the launch there, it should be open to the public, I think.
Yep.
How many moorings do we have off there now?
3,
4.
4.
Four.
There's 4. Also, just, point of clarification, the current policy for that site, as it's written, says you must have a mooring at Mitchell Field in order to have a space on the dinghy rack. So even if you assume like all 4 people get them, there's still 4 open slots available, or more if you're doing kayaks. So you just need to decide
Right.
how you'd like to handle that.
Is that ordinance or policy?
It's the policy.
Policy.
Oh, policy, all right.
Yep.
Well, we can fix that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we make it
Open to the public.
open to the public. And we have a comment from our recreation director.
Let's say maybe.
Katie Neal, Parks and Recreation. Thank you, gentlemen. Just my only limited perspective is as someone who is supporting the monitoring from the land. And when this policy was put into place, Mitchell Field was locked by gate overnight. As we all know, we currently have the gate open, and in the short time that the boat launch has been active, and with the super hot weather that we're seeing, Mitchell Field is getting tons of attention and tons of activity, not just during daylight hours. And so I think that if we are looking to have a dinghy rack, because I was in support of putting like a lot of things down there, just putting a pause on things to evaluate how this year goes. Are we putting in a light? What are the implications of having an all-tide boat launch down there? But if we have a dinghy rack, there should be some sort of language about liability and who is monitoring them and what if something happens to them. And then just in general, my perspective about town properties and public access is that our objective should be able to increase access for those who do not have access. So folks with the select few who have moorings down there have access. I'm sure that there are people in town who do not have access and do not have a place to enter the water with a kayak or whatever. So I would just advocate to consider a broader swath of folks to be able to potentially use town resources. Thank you.
I agree with the liability, and I thank you
Right.
for reminding me of that. I think we should change something that would absolve the town from any liability for people storing their dinghy
Oh.
at the dinghy rack. And I agree with her last point too, that it should, like I already said, be open to the public as a
Yeah.
whole. There should be a lottery.
On the liability issue, I believe if we treat it the same way we're treating the Potts Point dinghy situation, they fill out an application and there's some liability language in that application.
Yeah, I reviewed that real quick before the meeting so I could see, and it basically says they, in that aspect, there's individuals filling out applications for a dinghy permit, and one of the 3 items they agree to is that the town is not liable for any potential damage to their dinghy while it's at the town dock.
Or
So,
theft.
yeah, so like if you're gonna
Yeah.
choose to do that, then it kind of means we need to have a registration process or a lottery or something. So, if you want somebody to have to sign off.
I would
then-
say at least the mooring holders, if they're going to get 4 spots, if you're thinking of giving the mooring holders
I think
4
it should be
spots.
open to the, I think they should have to
Oh,
put in the
okay.
lottery
I don't know.
like
Yeah.
anybody else in the public. Especially with a boat launch there now, because it's kind of like what Katie spoke to, and there's people that don't have moorings, and that might be their only place to keep a boat would be their kayak on the dinghy rack,
Yeah.
However, should the priority be for the people who have moorings? This is their access to their mooring.
But there's a brand-new boat launch there.
I know that, but
Yeah, what David's saying is, they've already got their moorings there with an applied that they're allowed to use the dinghy racks.
So they should have a priority. The people who have moorings should have the priority, and then whatever's left.
I don't think there's
Public.
gonna be a mad scramble. I would keep a kayak there.
I mean, this was an existing policy. I don't think we properly implemented it on
I did
our
not.
part, so shame on us. But it was approved by the board in 2022. It did require an application process. It requires a permit fee, so the intention was to follow that process.
The
and
fee
we
was
have
going to
not
be
been.
revisited in the spring of 2023. Did we do that?
No,
No.
we did not.
We're here
Also,
now.
just another clarification point, just to try and get things consistent amongst areas. The Potts Town Dock dinghy policy does not indicate that you need to have a mooring at Potts Harbor in order to have a dinghy there. I know some people have a dinghy there and they go across to Ash Cove or someplace else. So if you want to tie having a dinghy to having a mooring there, that would be unique to Mitchell Field.
Right, that's,
Right, but I'm not saying that those are the only people. I'm saying that the priority needs to be, these people need to get to their boats, so you got a mooring out there. There needs to be some way to assure that they have their dinghy access. And then, I mean, there's 4. How many spaces on that rack?
8 total,
Eight-
but
eight.
if you're doing kayaks, you could get 2 per
Should
slot.
jam some more in there.
Yeah.
So that would tie up 4 with the priority for the mooring, and then it's the public. I mean, that was the reason we put the dinghy rack in there, was to allow, so people could get to their
right, but
mooring.
that was before there was a all-time boat
a
launch
demand.
that you can drive a dinghy
Right.
down with.
Well,
Like they do at all the other launches.
we may find that we have to add dinghy racks, but,
If we're gonna add dinghy racks, then I think we should be talking about adding dinghy racks at other launch points too. You know, and I think
If there's any
something,
room, is the problem.
well, there's not enough parking at Potts Point for all the dinghies that we store there now.
Or Holbrook's.
And I know for a fact that some of the fishermen that use dinghies to access their moorings at Holbrook, Street Landing and Bethel Point already have reserved spots there, so parking wouldn't be an issue for them. But it's kind of like what Darcy spoke to. I think we should be consistent across the board, you know, with all town properties, you know. There shouldn't be one with special rules, I guess, or,
I would just say that Mitchell Field was seen as public space that had a lot of parking
yeah.
area, where other launches and landings have very limited space.
Potts Point, for example.
Right, but I mean, look, it was like I just said with Potts. I mean, we got what, 25, 30 dinghies there and a spot for maybe,
3, 4.
yeah, I was gonna say 4 at most vehicles, so, I mean,
Maybe more with the, if you head in,
Yeah.
that parking.
So there's no priority over at Potts for the use of that, right? They're just anybody that wants to tie up their,
No, so it's a lottery system. We had it spelled out that if you would like to apply for a permit, the permit application process opens at midnight on January 15th, and I had a whole list of people email permits in at 12:01 on January 15th. And then based on, they're time stamped and date stamped in the order in which they're received, and there is a priority. It's based on residents, tax-paying non-residents, and then just non-residents. And those are each defined in the policy of exactly what they are. And then we do allocate 10%, so 3 of those slots are for non-residents, like not tax-paying non-residents, but actual non-residents.
with nothing to do with the moorings.
Nothing to do with the moorings, no.
and that's all. I think we should just adopt something similar for Mitchell Field.
Sure.
So it's
Yep,
consistent.
Okay,
Alright.
yep.
And I agree with what you said, like, and Kevin said that I don't think there's gonna be a ton of people lining up, so if the people with moorings apply, I think the odds are pretty good that they're gonna be one of the ones picked.
Yeah.
But it should be, the priority should be Harpswell residents.
Yes,
and-
agreed.
and
Harpswell,
then on
then
down.
non-resident taxpayers, and then non-residents.
Yep.
And we should add something about liability.
Yeah, I think we can take the liability language that we had in the Potts Point and just kind of copy and paste it into this.
Yeah, if you guys are going with an application, you could literally mirror the Pottstown Dock application.
Yeah.
And it says in there as one of the bullet items, I agree that I will keep my dinghy at the town float, in this case would be at the dinghy rack.
Right.
At my own risk, the town is not responsible for any damage to my dinghy.
Or theft.
Or theft, I would add a few things.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
personal injury from
Right.
reaching up to get it, or any of those things. It's just a one-pager thing, it's pretty straightforward.
Matt, Don, any input? Comments? No?
Just a last, however you move forward, hopefully we are giving plenty of notice for the information to be disseminated to folks so that
Yeah.
lots of people have the ability to apply so that they can increase their access.
Wait.
You might as well stay there anyway.
Thoughts on the time frame then?
2 months ago.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's hard because we're figuring out things as we go. I know that the anchor is here this evening, and I know that folks are eager to access the water as much as possible, especially with 90-degree days. I don't know what is appropriate, but I definitely want to give as many people an opportunity as possible.
I agreed. I was thinking a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
yeah.
Yeah, we need a little bit of time. yeah.
Especially maybe the anchor in the background
Yep.
and put something in the anchor that there's gonna be a couple week
Yeah.
time period for people to apply.
Katie,
That-
put something in the
if you
anchor.
wanna say
That would be on
something.
the online anchor because of,
Yeah, the
yeah.
new anchor wouldn't come out
Yeah.
until August.
Oh, yeah, good point. Did you wanna? Oh, yeah,
Absolutely. You're encouraged.
yeah.
Matt Newberg, current mooring holder at Mitchell Field. So just for perspective, we were, I think, among the first few lucky people to get a mooring down at Mitchell Field, which,
And you had
again,
to clamber down over the rocks to get to it.
yeah, and for several years, yeah, we did that. We'd put the dinghy on the roof of the car, the paddle boarder, I'd swim out, and I still am doing that. Obviously, the boat launch makes it much easier. So I think to Katie's point, it is easier for us to get down there anyway. And I'm certainly in support of just more access for all. I mean, I think that with a facility like Mitchell Field, or if you could squeeze them in at Bethel Point or anywhere, racks like this are great because for all the people that don't have shore frontage and can't, find some other way to access the water, right? It saves them, when you get up there in years, putting a heavy paddleboard up or putting a heavy, dinghy on the roof of your car is not easy, right?
Oh, come on. I know that, but you don't know
Well,
that yet.
I mean, it's like a shoulder
You're getting
injury
there, right?
waiting to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, the point is those things are heavy and getting them on and off the roofs of cars is not easy. So, whatever you guys do is great. It sounds like the Mitchell Field moorings are maybe not going to be around. I would love to know why. I was sort of thinking that it was eelgrass. Obviously, if that's the case, I certainly wouldn't argue with that. But in the 6 years we've had our boat there, 5 years, I've never felt like it was at risk of going adrift. So, and it's been there since 20 or 19 or 20. So it's been fine. So I would love to know why it's been deemed unsafe all of a sudden. And then the last thing I would say is that I actually I think it's strange, even at Potts, that mooring holders, to your point, David, are not guaranteed a dinghy because that just seems strange to me. So I totally hear what you're saying, Matt, to make it consistent, but I would just think about maybe flipping it consistent the other way where you reserve some public access for lottery, but that people who have moorings are given some sort of priority because otherwise how do they get to their boats, right? They're doing what we're doing.
Right.
And you can't do that at Potts. Well, you could put in down by Dick's old place and go around, but anyway, so.
Good point.
Thanks.
Good
And-
point. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Matt. All right, moving on from that. Ben-
What did we just?
Did you
Oh,
establish?
I thought Katie was going to put something in the anchor and establish the policy.
But what is your date? Did you pick a date that you want people
weeks.
to apply
2
for?
weeks?
Well, online anchor can happen anytime.
Is that correct,
Town website.
Mr. Good?
The online anchor, not the printed one.
We can get something online fairly quickly.
Town Facebook.
Yeah, let me know, like, what, we can put whatever we want on, like, the Facebook pages and stuff,
Yeah.
but what is the date we will begin
Right.
accepting applications?
I think we should wait until after the holiday. I mean, it's too late to do it today,
Oh,
per se, so
right.
start
What?
maybe on Monday.
Yeah, you said 2 weeks.
Yeah, so 2 weeks from Monday, starting on Monday, and then 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks from Monday.
Can we just say like July 15th or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be the
The
deadline for
13th,
people
yeah.
to submit.
And then going forward, if we do this again next year, we can maybe line it up with the pot stock and just
Yeah,
say,
I think that makes
January
a lot of sense.
15th, all our
I think
dinghy
this should-
units.
Yeah.
Like Katie said earlier, we should have
Okay.
been on this 2 months ago.
Great.
Yeah.
You'll
All
get
right.
Late
more
than never, as
emails
they
at
say.
12:01, but.
We'll be launching, all the floats will have to be in, the Mitchell Field
Yep.
floats have to be in, the pots float have to be in.
Yep.
I would also like to think eventually of Matt's suggestion of flipping that, so that the dinghies over at Potts have, the mooring holders have the priority.
Isn't access part of being, you have to show that you have access to get a mooring?
Yes, that is how that works.
Yes,
You need to
so-
show that you have an access point to get to your mooring. So that's
So-
why we don't have dinghy permits all over town right
So-
now.
So if they don't have access
They would not have had a
from
mooring.
the town dock.
Right.
Right,
No,
so
but they
need
have
to-
There's a
access at
boat
the
launch
launch.
there,
Yeah.
there's a Potts
Yeah.
Point launch where they would have.
That's why it's popular. because-
Yeah, which I'm not sure, like, going along those lines, it seems like a gray area that Paul issued those moorings at Mitchell Field before there was actually a boat launch there. Scrambling over the banks from a piece of
Well-
public property is a little.
Well, I'm guessing Matt's still scrambling over the bank.
Yeah.
It's shorter.
All right, so July 15th, we'll be accepting applications.
Okay,
How about the fee? Do you guys want to stick with the initial one in the draft early version,
Yeah,
or
that's
make it
$25.
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah,
Okay.
that was 25, yeah.
What's Potts Point?
50?
50 now.
Yeah. You can
But
revisit
Potts
that next
Point,
year.
you're in the water
Yep.
there, which is
Right.
a little bit more.
It's more of a
effort.
premium situation.
Exactly, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the way I look at it.
Do you
pay for
guys
the-
feel like we need to issue stickers for these? I can go get Banana Bananas to do those if we want to be, or who's enforcing? How do we know whose stuff is there? You know, those are other questions.
Yeah, probably a sticker.
Sticker, I think would be a
Okay.
good idea, that's simple.
They're pretty
most-
quick, and it would be a
that-
small amount.
Yeah,
so-
that's the most simplistic way, don't you, would you agree?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep,
There you are.
all righty.
There we go. All right. All right, Katie.
Welcome back.
Katie.
Benches on town properties.
Yes, so, to talk again about access to our public spaces, I receive a lot of communication from folks requesting benches on various town properties, and not necessarily memorial benches, but wanting to make sure that we have resting spots along the waterfront at Mitchell Field for folks who, want to sit and can't make it down to the water. So making sure that we have appropriate resting places throughout our town properties. As I mentioned, 2 weeks ago, I'm working with one of our interns and our monitor to improve the language on our trails and how we talk about them. This is some work that carried over from my time at the Land Trust. It improves access. If you talk about your trails better, people can decide if it's a good fit for them or not, rather than a ranking system, because what's easy for you might be hard for me. So you're just describing the trails better. So as part of this initiative to make our spaces more broadly accessible, we are starting to look at different properties where a simple bench like we have along the accessible portion of the cliff trail might be appropriate. Those are made with materials that we already own, bog bridging that we have easily accessible. They're non-permanent structures. They don't impact any codes issues. So we are currently considering one at the Giant Stairs. There's a spot on town land across, along the path, but across from the rocks. That would be a non-obtrusive space for folks to sit. It's a fairly level trail that we've put some time and energy towards making it a nice path for all. We're considering the waterfront area down at Mitchell Field. You know, we've already you all moved picnic tables. We have a bench there. So yeah, just trying to make our spaces more accessible for all.
So we recently got an email from someone who didn't think there were enough benches on the waterfront at Mitchell Field.
Yes, sir.
So that this will hopefully answer that for them?
Yes, he was invited to come this evening and was not able to make it. Will be coming to our committee meeting, but I told him that I would express his perspective at this meeting.
Yep.
And in the past, there's been some pushback about Giant Stairs, a bench at Giant Stairs, from the neighbors there.
Yep. I understand it was and I don't necessarily have all of the information. I'm under the impression it was a memorial bench and it was a granite bench. And so this would not be a memorial bench. It would be something that we would construct and it would not be a permanent structure.
Okay.
Remember,
there was-
David,
there-
we denied that
Yeah.
3 years
There was a
ago.
bench there that was, I would call it an assemblage, actually. It was made out of a bunch of stuff. A lot of questions about what's that, who put that there? Nobody seemed to know, but
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's still there.
I know that there were rocks, large rocks that were put on the other side of the trail as a potential resting spot, but really to get down and sit down on them and then get back up would be challenging for anyone who had mobility issues or achy bones.
Okay, all
This
right.
chair's about my limit.
Sounds like you're on it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The bench, have you seen the
Oh,
one
yeah,
out here?
yeah, I'm on the town lands
Yeah.
committee, I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Uh-oh.
Mr. Dawn.
Say nice things.
I will. Don Misko, Mitchell Stewart. Part of the gentleman's email referred to the current bench situation. And I had explained to Christie that a lot of those benches were distributed where they were because people specifically requested to be able to sit along the way, walking the perimeter road.
Right.
And so the perspective of the waterfront, people can come down there and set up chairs. They do it every day. And we're certainly looking at all of that with the master plan update. What do we want to have happen at the waterfront? How do we want it to look? We need to finish the admin building site prep before we start making bench decisions and things and what we want to do there. And if I can jump ship to one more item, July 26th is Sunday, lobster boat races. I just want to make sure everybody knows that the boat launch will be closed on that day
That makes sense.
till about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And so we're going to put a sign out at the front gate to let people know. But lobster boat race, I'm on the planning committee and we're cooking along. We've got
I
plenty of,
assume boats would be able to tie up along the floats along there though during the races. No?
what's that?
I'm sure boats could tie up along the floats there, right?
Yeah, we're going to do a lottery or are there going to be 52
I
boats
was gonna
tied?
say, yeah.
We first come, first served.
Yeah.
Whoever gets there first gets to tie up.
That'd be a great
Well,
thought.
actually, we want to leave room because one of the things the committee wants to be able to do is if they sell out merch on the boats, which they do, they sell merchandise out on the boats for the folks that are on the water. They want to be able to come in and pick up more.
Okay.
So,
Well, they could land right on the boat ramp too,
that's true.
you know.
Thank you.
Larry Periwinkles.
Yeah.
All right,
Excellent.
we good? All right. Placing aluminum ramps up for bid.
It's like eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
Darcy Kuchar, Harbor Master. It was recently brought to my attention that there are two kind of older, dilapidated-ish aluminum ramps sitting to the side of the generator building. I wasn't aware they were there until last week, and asked around a little bit. I know one of them is the former ramp for the Pottstown Dock, which has been replaced by a beautiful new state-of-the-art ramp, so that's no longer needed for that function. The other one is roughly 21 feet long and is actually it needs a repair. It needs a weld to be used.
I like that term, lapidatish.
So I asked Billy Saxton about them in case he had any historical knowledge, and he said, I don't know why we still have those pieces of junk. We should have gotten rid of them a long time ago. So,
I thought we put these up for bid last year,
Not
too.
the ramps.
No.
I think we were hanging on to them for whatever reason. I don't know.
I thought I remembered an agenda item.
it's going to take a handy person to make use of either of them. They're not in any kind of pristine, desirable condition. So,
However, I
if
think
you-
they're salvageable.
In
if you would
Harpswell,
like
they
to-
could be.
Right,
Yeah,
the price
yeah.
of aluminum nowadays,
Yeah.
they can be used for something.
So I would just like to ask, I already asked Chuck if we could maybe bring them over to the recycling center for public viewing, and he was not a fan of that. So they are currently staying where they are, next to the generator building. I would just like to do whatever will be most expeditious for us to move them along to a new owner, whether that's putting them out for bid, if you want to put some sort of criteria in there that if we don't receive any bids, then someone can just come take them away. I don't want to have to keep coming back to deal with the old ramps. So if we can have a one-and-done policy that covers all situations, that would be great.
Well, I would like to put them out to bid. We don't want to encourage people to drive in there to the generator building. So could they be moved out to somewhere out near the road?
Wow.
Would it be
So
okay
they
for
could
them
be
to
viewed?
drive the generator building, Don?
What's that?
Would it be, would it be okay to drive to the generator building
Yeah.
to see these ramps?
We don't encourage people to use that as
Yeah, we
walking.
don't.
Yeah.
But could the ramps be moved out to a place that's
John's-
where people could view them?
I will only offer not encouraging folks to go to the generator building. I was there today, and there were no less than 3 cars doing laps around the perimeter where it clearly says walking
Oh,
only.
yeah, right,
So
yeah.
anything that we could do to not
Right,
encourage
right,
that.
Right, yep, thank you.
Yeah, I would say we could put them right out on the roadside. There's that grass strip literally where the trailer parking is. We could put them in that grass section,
Oh,
right
good
between the
idea.
entry and the
Yeah,
exit.
yeah, good idea.
Perfect.
Okay, who's going to do it?
Eric Field?
We can get Eric, we probably got some
Truck,
dunnage.
they drag 'em.
We can set them on. I think they may be on dunnage already. So yeah, we'll take care of that.
Okay, all right.
So
You
just-
wanna
you could
set a
just like
dead-
tack on, like if we get no bids, then we can move
No,
on
I don't
to.
think we should say anything like that. I think
Okay,
we should Try to
fine.
get bids, because if we say that, nobody's gonna bid.
Fair enough.
You always want to get rid of the damn thing.
Yeah.
Free for the taking.
Right, well,
I
let's
think
try
they
to
might
bid
have
them.
value.
They have
Huh?
some value.
They do. I mean, they're, as you say, they're not pristine, but they certainly are salvageable. They
I
are
don't think
useful.
we have to put a minimum bid, we just put it
Right.
out to bid and see
Yeah.
what the
See who
lowest
wants
one
them.
we get.
Sealed bids, and
Yeah.
what's your deadline for
They new
accepting
ramps are
sealed?
300 a lineal foot.
2 weeks?
Yeah,
2 weeks deadline for the bids?
weeks.
that's fine with me if we think that's enough
Yeah.
time.
Well, that gives enough
Advertise
time
it
to get
the
them
same way
moved down
you're
there.
Doing
Yeah.
everything else.
Okay. Great.
You'll be
And
busy
you'll
making
get the
Facebook
message
posts.
out. Thank you.
All right. Purple flag policy regarding shark sightings.
And we're back.
Didn't we just do this
We did.
6 years ago?
Katie Neal, Parks and Rec. I had the privilege of being the one to hang the flag at Cedar Beach this year and last year, though I did not make the news.
Oh.
I did feel proud that that was my flag.
Make Ron your.
We can change that.
No, actually,
I'll
I'm good.
forward
Thank
it
you.
to you next time.
No, I'm very good. Thank you so much. I think that it is important to alert our visitors that there are sharks in the water, especially given what happened within our community not very long ago. The current policy is that someone reports a shark sighting and DMR decides the validity of it, and then Darcy and I communicate and decide, have a conversation about hanging a flag. I would say that most, from my limited experience, the ones that come through dispatch are like fins in the water, and they may or may not be sharks, whereas the text messages and calls that we get from the fishermen are sharks. And I think that we can agree that sharks don't stay in one place, and also whether we see them or not, they are in the water. So hanging a shark flag at Cedar Beach to alert that there was a shark sighting, I think is important. And also that shark is both still there and not there, and at other beaches and not other beaches. And when do you bring it down? These are the questions that Darcy and I have been pondering. So we want to be respectful of our community and make sure that they are making smart choices when they're choosing to swim in the water, and also maybe not putting it up, taking it down, putting it up, taking down. So we would just like to open that up for discussion.
What are your thoughts on, all right, go ahead, Darcy. Then
I'm going to go ahead and throw my weight in here as someone with a graduate degree in marine biology and marine policy and the communication of scientific things. So what I've experienced this year is I think it is important that we have an event that causes us to put the flag out because it gets people to pay attention. Usually the news picks it up. It's a really great way to make folks aware. I think if we just had a policy of we're not going to use flags, or they just stay up all the time, 24/7, that's not as effective. I do think maybe when we have a potentially, real shark sighting from a fisherman, or however we decide we're going to take it, the flags go up at all of our locations to let folks know it is shark season in Harpswell now. Sharks can travel hundreds of miles in really short amounts of time. So to only have one at Cedar Beach and wait to do Mackerel Cove doesn't make a lot of sense biologically. That's not really how they work. I think also they should just stay up for the summer season, and we take them down in the fall when the tourists have finished visiting and nobody's going to be swimming. I think it relays the important information, and it limits the burden on town staff to work around what may or may not be valid scientific reasons for what we're doing. I think it's a nice middle path that works for the community.
Leave them up.
So.
Once they go up, leave them up everywhere.
The 2020 proposal mentions a number of things in there. One is that there be signage near the flags to tell people what they are. What is that purple flag, and what is expected of them, and what's happening. The other thing is that there would be something on the town's website, which there was not this time.
We can do that. I can.
But
Go ahead. I put it on our Facebook, on our social media, but it didn't go on our.
Signs there now? Is there signs there now?
at Cedar
Yes.
Beach, there's nothing but signs.
Yeah.
I really
I
don't
worked
want.
really hard on those signs.
I know.
There's a stop sign, there's a don't park here sign.
I'd put up the stop sign again last summer.
Well, they are still walking by it.
It's big too.
Yes, there are signs on the white posts that stay up that explain when there has been a shark sighting, there will be a flag raised. So we would need to change the language to better communicate why the flag is up. And apologies, it was our intent to post something on the town website. We knew that as soon as we put the flag up, it was going to get attention, and we wanted to make sure the folks at the town office had the same information that we had.
So it'd be a seasonal flag then.
Essentially, yeah, it would go up at the first sighting and stay for the season. And that way it covers our bases, it makes sense, less stress on town staff, and maximum information provided.
Oh, yeah, I just want to make sure it's done in a way that isn't crying wolf, that, that.
If there is
people-
a shark sighted at Cedar Beach, I can guarantee you it has also swam by Mackerel Cove and probably all the other peninsulas in Harpswell.
There are
But like
more
so many-
sharks off the coast of Maine than any other state in America.
Sure.
That's a fact.
I have shark
But-
tracker on my phone.
I guess my point is, having the flag up all the time is sort of like having signs that people just ignore after a while. I want to make sure
No.
that.
My only, and to that point, though, is the other side of it. Just because we don't have a flag flying, there are still sharks
Right.
in the water. So
Right.
I would hate to take the flag down at Cedar Beach because we haven't seen one recently. And guess what? There's still sharks.
They've been seen in the area.
That's not what I
Right,
mean.
there-
That's not what I mean.
No, I know you were
mean,
saying the opposite,
the
yes.
The flag has to have a purpose, and it has to actually, people have to, see it and
Yeah.
know what it means and understand that
like,
that's there for the season. There's probably sharks out there.
Yeah, exactly. I think the event of it going up for the first time is still always going to get a lot of attention, which is what we want.
Yep.
And it's essentially like, the season has begun.
Shark
and
season.
It's shark season in Harpswell.
I agree with that. I think just change the language a little bit on the signs, to correspond with,
Yep.
once this flag's up, there are sharks in the area until the flag comes down.
Yep.
Yes,
think
so
you
we
guys have
will
got it.
also communicate this in the ways that we have talked about communicating the other things.
And are there just 3 locations that we're responsible for? Or are there more than 3?
Yes, so we partner with the Land Trust, of
Okay.
course, and when we put up the flag at Cedar Beach, I was communicating with their Lands and Stewardship Director just to let her know what was happening. So I believe there's maybe even a flag at Johnson Field, though there's, sort of sister properties, and then you all have one at Stover's as well, which, is just right under the bridge. Yeah.
Well, would we put one up at Mitchell Field, at Potts,
Yeah.
at? all
Yes,
these
so
other
there
things?
is one at Mitchell Field. There's not a flag flying, but there's a post at Mitchell Field.
Yep.
There's not one at, there are lots of different places where folks access the water that aren't
Yes.
necessarily swim spots, like
Sure.
the boat launch of Lookout Point.
I know people have swam at Potts. They jump off the wharf and.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Everywhere.
So I'm open to understanding where, actually, I think you maybe have one at Potts. Yeah. The preserve at the end, but not the boat. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, There's a
That's
nice
right.
beach down there.
So I think we would want to, as it goes with most things, make sure that we're aligned with the land trust and that we're communicating the same things and doing the same thing.
I think just a general admission that it's shark season, and as much as we can let people know that, swim
Yeah.
at your own risk around here.
Yeah.
You might be shark food. Yeah.
Harsh, Dave.
Well,
I don't
don't
swim
don't
with
swim
the
with
ocean.
seals. Don't be swimming with a pack of seals.
There's also jellyfish at the beach, and don't touch them.
Down.
Oh, yeah.
Not the orange ones.
Also,
Yeah,
just pointing out,
definitely.
Camden Cruises just posted on their Facebook media, like, we have a confirmed great white shark sighting by DMR. So that, I think it is not, it's not overreach for us to just put the flags up and leave them up for the season.
Yep.
They're out there.
I've seen 2 this year already, so they're there.
All right. That was easy.
Okay, if you say so.
Didn't necessarily mean it.
Public comment?
All right, public comment?
Good evening. My name is Sarah Haig Murphy. My property is at 15 Hems Way on Bailey Island, and I'm an abutter to the Giant Stairs path. My house sits approximately 25 feet from the path and 75 feet from the monument at the top of the stairs. I've lived at that location for 40 years. My family history on the island goes back to 1890, and there are still cottages in my family which are also abutters to the Giant Stairs property. As I sit on my porch and watch people walk along the path, they often comment to me how beautiful and wonderful it is here and how lucky I am to have this property. I readily agree, often having lovely conversations and occasionally making new friends. There are, however, drawbacks to this location. People are occasionally extremely loud, rude, and obnoxious. I can hear most conversations of people on the stairs as the breeze carries every word that's uttered, sometimes foul language. There is often litter when I go out in the morning, cigarette butts, beer cans, half-drunk vodka bottles, sometimes worse. People come to the path at 4:30 in the morning to watch the sunrise, most recently 20 Bowdoin students. They come at 2 o'clock in the morning with music, rarely with soft voices. Drones have been flown over my backyard as I have been enjoying my gardens. The existence of a bench or benches on the Giant Stairs path would only, I feel, exacerbate these problems. There are many natural places along the rocks to sit and enjoy the wonderful views, but a bench is not desirable to the abutters. Even the rocks which were placed there, I've never seen anybody sit on, and I walk the path almost daily. The deed from Captain Henry Sinnott uses the word discommode twice in the original deed to the town. And bear in mind, the deed is for the inhabitants of Harpswell, not Brunswick, New York, California, Texas, or wherever they come from. Specifically, the deed reads, quote, "that no nuisance shall be erected on said strip of land or any use or occupancy thereof, which shall in any way or manner damage or discommode the rights of the public or the rights and benefits of the abutting owners thereon forever." The definition of discommode is to cause inconvenience, disturb, trouble, or bother. I urge you to keep this beautiful place in its natural state and reject in perpetuity installation of any benches. Benches will destroy the nature of the path and go against the deed of Captain Henry Sinnott.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? No, we're good. Other business?
Bad elf.
Bad elf.
So the code office talked to the board during the workshop at 5 about a GPS tool it would like to order, and the board indicated you would approve it, however you want a policy to come back to you before it's used.
Correct.
Correct. I move that we purchase the tool and wait to use it until we have a policy in place.
You get that number in front of you, David?
$6,620.96.
I move we purchase the bad elf for $6,000.
620.96.
$620.96.
Yep. And this has been approved by the Budget Advisory Committee.
Yeah,
Well, I don't
it sounds-
think they didn't have a specific conversation, as I recall, about, they knew
You were
there
there.
was in the budget, but do you
There was a line item in the code.
But I don't know if
budget.
they asked a question about it or not.
I
don't.
think they,
Did they? Anyway, I
think they
can't
did,
recall.
but I
I
think
mean-
they asked what it was, and it was
Oh,
described as
okay.
just a tool that codes needed. There wasn't a lengthy
Okay.
discussion by any means,
Okay.
but they did approve it.
So there is money in the code's budget
Yes.
for something like this.
Yes.
Yes, there is. All right. No discussion. All in favor?
Thank you.
There. Anything else under other business?
No.
Nope. At this point, I can't think of anything else, so we're adjourned.